Welcome to Winnipeg by Night, Episode 6, In the Dark. Deals are made and deals are kept. Collectively, this bartering system is the only true currency in the world of darkness. At night, kindred, vampires exist, trying to exist and hide themselves among a mortal populace that is entirely ignorant to the predators that exist with them every night. But in order to keep the peace, how do you end up doing that when time itself erodes all manner of development? Coins can rust, paper falters, assets change hands. The powerful grow more so, and those without left to their own destitution. And in this situation, how does one maintain any coherency? That is where the nature of boons comes in. Favors. That is the currency of the realm, regardless of what city you come into. Regardless of what you do as a vampire, you are owed certain favors, and you owe certain favors. This leads into a very complicated relationship with one another because the vampire itself intuitively is not a pack hunter. It is very much a solitary creature. And yet, it requires being amongst the cattle, the kine, human beings, in order to end up existing. And wherever humans flourish, vampires will come. And so, in order to end up maintaining any kind of status quo, even amongst the anarchs, there is always a price to pay, as our coterie has found out not too long ago. With this being said, I believe we have some elements to finish up, so let's see where our coterie is at right now. Starting with the one who made the biggest splash yesterday, or last time. Omen! My dear friend. My comrade. How are you doing? What's going on in your head right now this evening as things go on?
Well, right now, it's a little bit of panic, because Mother Nature is fucking real, and I am apparently their herald. So, I want to stay away and bring it some blood, feed it, but others don't seem like they want that, and yet two of our coterie has went to the house. I didn't mean to offer them up. They went back there on their own without this knowledge. This is not my fault. I want to tell you this now.
And how exactly, Omen, is this not your fault?
I said I was going to feed it. I did not say what. And if it misinterprets the other people coming in as food, that's not on me. Probably should have warned them. but kind of got busy with things, and well, they might be dead. I'm just gonna be honest. They might be dead. Ugh, fuck. Well, this is my life. I'm fucked. I'm fucked either way.
So you're on to the hunt.
Yeah, well, I'm currently playing the chauffeur, and Adder wants to go back to meet up with the other two. So, should I go back? Shouldn't I? Car has a mind of its own. We'll see.
The car has a mind of its own, because it's not your fault. But Adder wants to go home, apparently. Adder, my dear friend, how are you doing? You want to go home? Oh. Maybe you can explain your position a little bit better.
Omen is a jackass. That about sums up my thoughts on him right now. Because not only is he trying to convince himself that he is not at fault here, because I can hear him muttering to himself from the back seat of the car. Not only has he made a deal with an entity that we know nothing really about, and if my thoughts are correct, it's a very territorial, very old kindred. But it could also be something that is not that. And because the other two were going to that house, well, let's just say I'm eager to get back to to try and avoid another circumstance like the apartment building, where the thing itself is trying to eat us.
Well, admit.
Am I the only one concerned about anything these nights?
Clearly, Adder. You're the only one taking this seriously. And why shouldn't you be? After all, you are here to shepherd. Isn't that what the ministry do? Shepherd the flock? I mean, to hear a preacher say it anyway. Honestly, it's sometimes a wonder on how he manages to end up keeping it all together, but maybe that's just age and experience.
He's respected.
He's old enough he's old enough to remember when the ministry wasn't branded as the ministry. You, on the other hand, it's all hearsay at that point, you know. But there's certain parts of that reputation we might not want to bring up just yet. Save it as a surprise, maybe. So what are you planning to do then, given the fact that Omen is, to use your vernacular, a jackass?
At the very least, I'm going to be texting Ruby that they should not be going into that house just yet.
In which case, I think that's a good time to pass it along to Ruby, who is currently entering the house, if I recall.
Yep. We got back to the house before we got that message. Looks like Omen pretty well cut the grass. Though it doesn't look cut, but
it doesn't have that fresh cut smell that you used to appreciate, when you were a kid.
But blissfully unaware of what could possibly be waiting for them inside. So Ruby's going in.
What's Ruby thinking this evening?
She's got a lot on her mind. There's the fact that her youngest niece has something going.
Oh, you muted up.
Really?
There we go.
Headset, I swear.
You and me both. You and me both. So.
Yeah, your earphone, my mic. As I was saying, she's concerned because her youngest on some kind of power that's apparently coming from her, the doll, something. And then there's, Ed. Poor Eddie.
Sitting in the back of the car with Adder, if I recall.
Probably the best place for him right now. Speaking of, she needs to talk to Adder about that and try to figure out where to go from here with him. And then there's the fact that Colton suspects something. Whether he actually knows or not, she doesn't fully understand that part, but
True.
She's not wanting to admit it yet, not until she's had a word with Adder.
Colton. Suspicious. Who knew? You and Earl, your faithful companion, big dog as he is, currently have been busying yourself helping out the coterie. So where are you and what are you up to right now?
I would have been driving Ruby because I would be going into the house right behind her.
Hey,
No.
you know Earl's not a fan of this place. He's acted a little bit sketch. It's understandable given some of the shit that has gone down in this house already. But beggars can't be choosers, and it's not like Mountain Avenue is slooting with bought unhoused locations. So beggars can't be choosers after all.
And Colton is just trying to keep his cool. He's very angry right now because he knows Ruby's lying to him. Especially after he didn't ask any questions and backed her play trying to help out her family.
And what is she lying to you about, though? That's the question.
Something about it doesn't add up, and she's not talking. All I know is that the trust that was built there has kind of been burned.
But isn't that just the nature of the vampirism? Trust eroding. So let's start off with fun stuff early. Let's start off with Ruby and Colton, who are currently entering this haven. This little place to end up trying to end up finding themselves a place to breathe. Trying to make the most of it.
Colton would go find, like, chair or old sofa, whatever they have in there, and just go and sit with Earl, waiting for the others to get back.
Ruby would be finding a place to sit herself. Kind of warily keeping an eye on the basement door.
I imagine you would. As you sit, kitchen table, looking out the window, showcasing the front, sitting in this small kitchen. There's a chill. Not unnaturally cold, but very clear, as we are just now coming into spring in Winnipeg. The house, well, nothing living stays in here.
She's going to pull out her phone and send a message to Adder, see how they are.
And it's about that time I imagine you would be getting a Adder, which reads specifically, Adder? What was that text read specifically?
Don't go in the house.
He's gonna get 3 words in response. Too late. Why?
Adder's gonna text back. Get out. On our way.
And seeing that, she's gonna go out and look at Colton. Hey, Adder tells us we shouldn't really be in here now, apparently.
Oh. Another order from Adder. Did he mention why?
No, but I can just imagine why. When she kind of motions back toward where the basement door is.
Okay.
Something must have happened while we were gone.
Alright. Then I guess Colton would get up and start heading towards the door with Earl with him.
And Ruby's right behind.
Ruby, I would like you to roll me a resolve and occult.
Two.
And you have no willpower to reroll.
I have no dice to reroll.
Yeah. Well, you have no dice to reroll, I should say, as you're at 3 hunger. Okay. Alright. Ruby, you open the door, and you can see the path leading out. Nothing seems out of the ordinary.
She's gonna start on out.
And Colton, you walk out as well, I presume?
Yeah, I think I was actually ahead of her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright. Then, Colton, I would also ask you for the same roll. And you'll get a +1 specifically because of Earl. Resolve occult.
Alright, well, let's see. Occult, which is 0. Resolve. What's +1?
And that's a single success. Alright. Anything you want to end up doing with it? Willpowering it or anything of such? Or you're fine with that?
No, there's not. I couldn't fish for a crit.
Well,
And
you could, technically. You could end up rolling 2 dice and hope that you get double 10s. Still a chance.
I think I've burned those 10s last couple sessions that I played, so.
Alright, so we'll let those rolls stand. You both end up going out. Earl seems a little agitated, but understandable given the place that you're in. So, what do you two do? Are you two just going to end up waiting on the front lawn? In your car's just outside the driveway? What's going on?
Yeah, I would walk down the street where I usually park my truck and get in my truck.
Colton, it doesn't take a lot for you to end up seeing something. You hear it fluttering, like wings. And you hear a barking coming from Earl, who's looking upward. You look across the street as you see a bunch of silhouettes, black shapes, just swarming the rooftop above, circling diving. Something on that roof has their attention. They're definitely being loud about it. The cawing starts to build up into a chorus. Ruby, you would definitely see that as well.
She would have followed Colton to his truck, but wouldn't have gotten in. She is keeping her eye on the shapes on the roof.
Looks like a bunch of blackbirds. Could be crows, could be ravens. You're not sure. Not at this distance. It's 3 stories up at night. It's a little bit difficult to see.
Yeah, as I'm walking to the truck, I'm going to pop Eyes of the Beast and see if I can get a good look.
Roll me a wits perception.
Four successes.
You see a figure on the roof. There's somebody there. They're trying to bat away these birds as they are being swarmed. Like the swarm is trying to push them off of the roof. Not doing particularly effective as they're lashing out, but you definitely see somebody's being swarmed up there, just outside your haven.
I'm going to tell Ruby to take Earl and get in the truck. And I'm going to walk towards there.
You see something I'm not?
There's someone up on the roof getting swarmed.
Alright, and she will listen.
You can
And
definitely
get
see it. You get in the truck, you see that there's a whole bunch of swarming, but you don't see the detail that Colton does. Not at this point.
How far up are they?
3 stories up. Across the street.
Does it look like there's any easy way to climb up?
Fire escape will get you to the 3rd floor, but you don't think it goes all the way up to the roof. But you probably get it fairly easily if you're athletically inclined.
Okay. I'll try to go up the fire escape.
Okay. You're going up the fire escape.
Then when I get to the top, trying to stand up and hop up and climb the rest of the way to the roof.
Okay. This is... Are you trying to do it quickly, or are you trying to do it safely? That's going to actually... Safely? Okay. Then I will end up asking you for a choice between your Dex or your Stamina plus Athletics. It's not going to be a high difficulty, but it is important for me to note.
Okay, I'm going to be using Dex.
Okay. More than enough. More than enough. You easily start to end up you jump up to end up grabbing the ladder and pull it down to end up climbing up the fire escape. You end up doing so, trying to end up making sure you're good footing. By the time you get to the 3rd floor, you kick on the off the rail to end up jumping up to end up catching the ledge of the rooftop as you start to end up going up. Pull yourself up. All you see are dozens upon dozens of black birds all around the edge, clearing a way for you. And as you take a look, there's a faint red in their eye. You don't see anyone. Not at first, anyway. The cawing died down. But they're still here. And somehow it's like being watched by an entire audience.
So I don't see anybody else up here?
No, not now. Somebody was here, or you're pretty sure you saw somebody.
If I don't see anybody around, can I use feral whispers to communicate with these birds?
Yes, absolutely. I believe that causes a rouse, and I'm going to need a charisma and you get a little hungrier.
Alright, no modifiers?
No modifiers.
Copy.
So what do you say? What are you trying to express to these birds?
Trying to ascertain their purpose.
Their purpose. Interesting. When you end up speaking, they'll end up turning to you. When you try and speak to them, you would expect one to respond. Maybe two. You know how it is. Birds, typically bird-brained. So when you get your response, the response doesn't come from one, it comes from all. To the human ear, this would just sound like maybe a few chirps and flutters. But to you, it's all the same answer. My sky.
Is someone moving in on your domain?
My sky. And the eyes start to end up glowing even redder. Like little pinpoints, almost like a million little stars all surrounding you. Black feathers into blackest night, leaving nothing but red stars all around you in beady little pairs.
Can I maybe like insight check them to try to figure out what they mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can end up doing that. It would be an animal kin in this case, because insight typically implies body language as well, tone and all that, but this, you're not dealing with a human being, so it would be animal kin.
Okay.
Same principle applies. Wits, animal kin.
Would my sense motives kick in?
No, it would not.
Okay, copy.
That comes from a different specialty.
Okay, I didn't know how that worked, if it was... But I understand. Let's see. Let's try this. 4.
Colton, you're not speaking to a bird. You're not speaking to a murder.
Hmm.
You're speaking to something else. Something else that wears these like a skin. When they speak all at once, almost in unison. Despite the fact that the motions may be different, it's all the same. My sky. Emphasis on my, implying singular. Despite the fact that you are surrounded by these red eyes looking back at you.
I'll just ask who is challenging that.
Red eyes. Hair like wheat. Dead.
Red eyes, hair like wheat.
Colton, you're reminded of somebody, I'm sure, right now. They say hair like wheat, like seed. That implies a lighter color. Blonde, red eyes. Last time I checked, weren't they playing with a spark plug of yours?
Ah. Hmm. I think I know who you're talking about. What brings you here, though?
My sky. My ground. And then you see them contort and twist as they get louder. But when they get louder, something strange happens. You hear the snapping of wings, like snapping of chicken bones, the cracking and tearing of flesh and feather. As you end up seeing a few of these crows start to open their mouths. When they do so, the mouth goes longer and longer until the bottom portion of the body comes and opens, showcasing past the beak. Blood. Tongue. The length of your arm. And teeth. Teeth built like tiny little razors, all pointed inside. A bite that once it comes down doesn't let go. And all of them start to open like this, red eyes, twisted abominations that look to be just a bird. But now there's something so much worse.
Are any of them moving towards me?
Not yet. You want to give them a reason?
Not really.
sky, my ground.
I was going to be honest, I don't fully understand. I understand that they're threatening your domain. But I don't understand why you're here and what you want me to do.
And then they close those horrible mouths, almost like they're reconfiguring back to being the little birds that you once saw when you first got up here. And they start chirping that way chicks do. Feed me. Feed me. Feed me. As they start to flutter away in small portions. As the murder starts to flutter around you. Fly off into the night.
Colton's just going to kind of sit there and take a breath. Because that's probably the weirdest thing that's happened to him since he became an undead.
I'd imagine so. Definitely would be top contender for a few.
After he catches his breath, he'll climb back down and head towards the car.
Head towards the car, where Ruby is waiting along with Earl, who has, shall we say, been surprisingly vocal.
I don't doubt.
And Ruby has just been sitting there petting him, trying to calm him down the entire time. Keeping her eye on Colton on the roof.
I'll slide into the car. Alright.
Thought you said you saw someone up there.
Yeah. I'm going to need a minute to process what the hell just happened.
Okay. That doesn't sound good.
Well, whoever was controlling them is not happy about someone being on their turf. I think I knew who they were talking about. They also want to be fed. And I don't think it would be a good idea to refuse from what I saw, because they're going to get fed whether they want to or not.
So you're talking something like the birds. The movie.
I'm going to describe exactly what I saw.
So describe exactly what you saw, Colton. What did you see? What did you actually experience? How do you explain something that can only be described as a fucking fever dream?
I would recount all of the what was said, but I would describe what the crows looked like. And then when they opened their mouths, and they kept opening, rows of razor sharp teeth, enough to shred someone. A whole flock of those could probably devour whatever they want. But the thing that was the most disturbing is it didn't seem like a flock of anything. It seemed like all one mind. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
Think it has anything to do with the thing in the basement?
I can only imagine.
No wonder Adder didn't want us in there. I wonder what happened that, he was trying to warn us ahead of time. Because I had to look at the time that message came in while you were up there. Came in shortly before we got to the house. Just didn't hear the phone.
And I think
don't
that's
know.
actually a really good place to end up switching to Adder and Omen. Who, Omen, I don't think you've started turning this car around yet.
God damn it, God damn it, God damn I don't want to. Fuck.
Look,
Alright.
look, before we can do anything about anything, we gotta make sure that our buddies, our buddy old pals, are safe and okay.
I mean, I know you right, but I fucking hate that you right. Fuck.
Yes, you can hate that I'm right all you want, but please turn this car around.
I'm turning. You ain't got to tell me twice.
Sometimes
Oh.
I do. Sometimes I do, Omen.
No, you don't. Okay? I know the right thing to do. I just listen to my impulses to stay the fuck away. Okay? That's how I have lived my life, and I have survived trusting my instincts.
I completely understand. Right here, in this moment, you and I are of the same mind. I don't like it either, but I'm not leaving them to fend for themselves and get fucking eaten by the house.
I mean, that's fair. Like, I wouldn't want to leave someone in a fucking cannibal house either. But how the fuck do you deal with a cannibal house, bruh?
You ignore it. That's what you do. You ignore it.
I think ignoring it's gonna make it fucking worse. Suit yourself.
Because you made a fucking deal with the damn thing.
Hey, it was gonna try to fucking swallow me, if I didn't. Self-preservation at that point, and kind of y'all self-preservation if I actually fled.
No, I
You
don't
stopped me
believe
from a
that
task
there
that
was
could save people
I don't
alive.
I don't think that there was a single altruistic thought in your head in that moment.
Hey,
None. None whatsoever.
I feel like if someone didn't take it, someone was gonna get forced into that shit.
That was an afterthought. You have to admit that. That was an afterthought.
Nah.
Because we're the kind of monsters we are.
A part of me kind of wanted to fuck the bitch up, honestly, because she said it smelled like bitch in there. And that kind of teed me the fuck off, if I'm being for real. But I kept my cool, kind of, and tried to de-escalate the situation.
Ruha, I swear to God.
Hey, I didn't go and fucking punch her. You at least gotta give me that. I tried to talk down the situation at her. I tried to talk down the situation.
We're gonna see if they're okay. And if they are, we're gonna collectively come up with a plan on how to deal with your fuck up.
Fuck it, let's go deal with all of us regardless. It might know where you live. It might know where Ruby lives. It might even know. It might be in any shit by now at her. We don't know this.
We will collectively figure out what to do about this situation once we've collected our other half.
Can you get them on the phone to see if they still alive or conserving gas as well? I mean,
For the sake of your sanity, yes.
it helps me. It helps all of us know that they ain't fucking dead, and we're driving back to a murder scene.
Well, she did reply, so there's that. At least Ruby's alive. We'll find out about Colton.
You big C man.
I'm not forgetting about him. He is very hard to forget.
I mean, Big C kind of cool as fuck. He got that big ass dog, a white ass dog too. Man, you can't. He's a memorable face. Honestly, I would say he's even the face of our little shindig. So I mean, gotta look out for him too. I mean, I don't
mean,
know.
sure. If you think that,
Fix his ass.
if you like the country bumpkin aesthetic, I guess. But yes, we're talking and driving.
He is chill as fuck, and I would hate to see when someone pisses him off. And
I don't think he likes
making the
me.
deal with. What you mean? He seems chill with everyone.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You can be kind of a jackass sometimes, but that kind of goes around everywhere.
Says the jackass.
I'm just being honest with you, bruh.
And I'm throwing it right back at you, brother.
Hey, you called me brother. That's all I really want to have this night. Thank you. Thank you.
Omen. The house is like literally 2 minutes forward.
Yeah.
You got what you wanted. So what
Movie
happens when you
again.
get back without what it wanted?
So you think if we creep slow enough but fast enough, they can just like hop on the hood of the car and I can keep going? Because I really don't want to stop.
Are you talking like some run-overs people, like in the movies kind of bullshit where they're tumbling over the top of the car?
Hey, there's holds that they can grab onto, but we kind of did come back with the house's McDonald's, and I kind of don't want to find out what happens when we stop.
That a question for you, Omen. How dexterous are you?
I'm decently dexterous. Honestly, I could probably do that shit myself. I don't know about Colton. Ruby's kind of like a twig. Actually, Darren, I'm gonna have to stop.
My point exactly. You don't know that they're actually going to survive something like that.
I would be surprised if they didn't survive and get hit by a damn car.
I would rather not cause any injury to our vampire friends because of the simple fact that shit is expensive.
I mean, an injury, but your life is saved, versus you're okay, but you get swallowed up by the ground.
And it causes frenzy, it causes hunger, it causes more shit that we have to deal with down the line. It's just a more hassle than it's really worth. Let's not.
The cost-benefit analysis is in our favor if we just leave. Actually, why the fuck ain't they left the premises? They kind of inviting to get eaten at this point.
Well, Colton Park's a billion miles away from the house anyway.
He's the smart one in the situation.
Yeah. So if Ruby's with
we
him,
should probably do the same. Yeah, he's probably.
Just drive up to his damn truck.
You see the truck right there.
See, there's the truck right there.
I'm going to kind of like pull up beside. Roll down your window, Adder.
Roll down the window.
Ruby, Big C, what the fuck y'all still doing in here? Why in the hell y'all left yet?
What the hell is going on?
Get in.
Let's fucking leave.
All right.
Before the ground opens up and we all fucking swallow.
Earthquakes don't
just-
happen in Canada.
Just drive down the street and we'll follow you.
I'm right where he doesn't even get half the sentence out.
I'll just pop a U-turn and follow him.
Why do I have a feeling tonight's gonna get even?
I don't. He's twitchier than normal, and Adder is Adder.
I have never seen Omen not be twitchy. Ever since we got to this goddamn house.
Ugh. Alright,
Well,
let's figure out
honestly-
what the fuck is going on.
Find some place to meet up.
It wasn't that hard. We kept moving. So, I mean, they probably didn't notice that we drove by. So, we might be safe. Hey, I'm sorry, your shit's just kind of fucked. I don't think most people was going back up in there.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And Adder will point out someplace safer for them to meet up.
Now, where would be safer, especially... Well, actually, that hasn't been brought up, so I'm not going to introduce it. So, where in your little neck of the domain can you have a little bit of time? Yes, there's...
Well, we could always go to a local park.
You got one of
But
those.
if
you've been
Omen's
using.
gonna start shouting again,
Hey, I'm gonna be calm as possible. When explaining this shit.
the moment you start yelling Omen, I am sticking a sock in your mouth.
Ew, don't do that. I don't know where your dirty ass feet have been.
That's the point.
That's fucking.
If you don't want to
disgusting.
eat
Not
sock, just stay quiet. Indoor voice.
I understand that, man, when we're in an open ass area.
Not on the front lawn, you didn't?
Listen, okay, I was trying to be calm and just fucking leave. Then I had the thought of probably should tell you before you get eaten.
At least you were considerate.
Mother Nature don't fuck around.
I doubt that it's Mother Nature.
You say that, but Omen, as you look to Adder, I doubt it's Mother Nature. You look a little bit over Adder's shoulder as he's turned to face you, and you can see little red eyes on the roof right across from him, like they're staring at you.
Only not Mother Nature. You say something? Yep. Okay.
There's always the church. I don't think
You
Preacher's
think
home tonight.
you think God would answer our prayers?
No.
Maybe. Fuck. I mean, I was told, my grandpappy told me if you prayed hard enough, that something would happen. I mean, maybe it's true. A tiny bit.
The moment you returned, you were abandoned by God.
I can't believe that, man. Like, it wasn't even my fault I got turned, bruh. I don't think he would, just, kick me to the curb like that. I don't think the big G would kick me to the curb like that. Come on, Adam. At least give me something to work with. Give me something to work with, bruh. Why you signing all of this?
Because God abandoned me a long time ago. And look how it turned out.
I forgot I'm talking to a damn Debbie Downer. God damn. Sorry, God. Where the hell is this church?
I suppose I'll lead him to Preacher's Church. The only real place that I think we could get some privacy from those birds he keeps seeing, I guess.
God has abandoned you, son. Fuck you. Fucking fake ass. Want to be growing up preaching mother. Hate this shit.
Okay. Let us go to church.
Actually, it would be the second time tonight, because I came from there this evening.
Well, let's see what we're... High or low, Adder?
Hi.
That's low. Okay, let's be no something.
Okay.
Adder, why don't you describe it? Since you're a sire, I'd like you to put a little bit of investment into this location. What do we see?
It's a standard kind of church. It kind of looks like it has a bit of a Catholic feel to it, where it's got the very tall sort of central building with the stained glass, with the stained glass windows, with the sort of traditional sort of appearance on the outside. The exterior's kind of a white with the like a brown roof. It's got the cross at the steeple. It's got, you know, kind of a general sort of unoriginal sort of look. It's the same as every other church when it comes to a Catholic exterior.
Well, it makes sense, especially if one's trying to preserve their masquerade. Ironically, the best thing you can do is just not stand out.
Exactly.
So, as you all start to end up driving towards the church, you end up pulling up. Now, Adder, you know that Preacher is perfectly fine with half the guests. And especially now that the Camarilla no longer holds sway, he's able to be a little bit more outgoing, free. Very much in that regard. Now, here's a question I have to ask. What are you doing with Ed? Because Ed was in that back seat earlier on, staying quiet. I don't want to forget about him.
It'll be coming along. Because this affects him as much as it does us at this point.
Fair.
So if he wants to be involved, he's more than welcome to put his 2 cents in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of his 2 cents he's actually going to put forward, but he has the opportunity to do so.
Okay. So, let us...
Thankfully, sermon's already over for tonight.
True.
So I have a question.
Yeah, Ruby, you got a problem.
Uh-huh. Is this going to affect me in any way?
Well, one way to find out, I suppose.
Yep.
So, right now, you end up stepping forward. And, Ruby, when you end up As you are about to end up coming out, you have a hesitancy. You look at it. All these iconic bits of stained glass mixed with the crucifix, showcasing right off the top of the steeple, declaring this to be God's house. And you feel it looming over you, like it's threatening to crush you at a moment's notice.
And Adder will take a key to the front door and unlock it. Kind of just leads directly into the sanctuary. It's not really going to lead anywhere private.
Ruby. Adder unlocks and goes in. I'm assuming no one's following. Colton, you get out of the truck. I don't think you're affected by it, nor is Earl. But you, Ruby, you have a hesitancy.
She is hanging back by the truck.
Understand.
Yep.
That's okay.
You
Just to be
coming,
clear.
Ruby?
I can try, not promising anything. Kind of have a thing about churches.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
I don't think anyone's going to bite you. You're not a member of the congregation.
So y'all into
No.
kinky shit.
Raven, here's a question for you. You can push through. You can force past. You can force yourself past that inherent fear. But it always costs a little bit out of you. You do know that, just to be clear, you can spend a willpower to get past.
Yep.
But it's going to be taxing to be in here. I can assure you of that.
Are you sure there isn't any place better, Adder?
The way that Omen yells?
I mean, there is the basement of my club and the goddamn loud.
Look, we can do it right here. It doesn't really matter. There's not much around. We need answers.
Yeah, see, God and I don't necessarily get along in it. So,
Fair enough. This is...
Colton's going to go around and basically just put the tailgate down on his truck and sit down on it. Wait for everybody to come over so we can have a little powwow.
I go back to lock up the door.
And Adder, as you are doing so, you see somebody who's walking down the street, coming up the church parking. They're dressed in a disgruntled or disheveled hoodie. Looks like it's damn near falling apart off them as they kind of scratch under their jaw like they got an itch as they start to make their way to the church.
Look, somebody's coming.
They can come, they can go. I'm going to be sitting over here.
Fine. I'll close up the door. And I walk away from it and go back over towards the truck.
Okay, Adder. They go to the door. And they let themselves in. clearly a member of the congregation. I mean, preacher's not opposed to it. People just coming on in. After all, the best stuff always happens in the private moments. Preaching to the entire congregation is one thing. Solidifying one's values. But the real magic always happens in the one-on-one. You know that time with preacher.
He just kind of stares at the door for a minute before turning his attention back to you all. All right. Indoor voices.
Why did you keep us, or tell us to leave the house? What happened with you guys?
Owen's informed me that he's made a deal with the house.
I'm sorry, you. What?
Made a deal with the house. You know, kind of to gloss over a little bit of the details and get right to the point. Yeah.
Okay, how did that happen?
I was going down to the basement to get the lawnmower. Took a minute to find the door. When I turned around, there was a woman sitting on the stairs blocking the way. Creepy, almost skin made out of concrete, black hair, pale as fuck, you know. Almost like she was made out of the house, honestly.
Okay.
And she was pissed. Okay. Apparently we moved into her house. So I was trying to be nice, have a conversation, you know. Then some words were said. It smelled like a bitch in here, and it almost got into a fight. I de-escalated it,
Smart.
but she wants food because I kind of made a snide comment about giving her some Miracle Grow, and yeah, she wants blood in return of
It's a vampire.
not forcefully getting me.
A very, very old vampire. One that is probably, I don't know how familiar you are with clans, but one that can burrow deeply into the ground, sit there for who knows how long, could be as ancient as the world is long, and feeding another vampire that's possibly older than all of us combined.
It looks more than a vampire to me. Because it literally opened up the entirety of the concrete floor, like several 10s to 30s of feet down, and just sitting there with a skeleton in the seat was a yellow-ass bulldozer, my guy.
And
Someone
you
clearly
decided
got bulldozed.
your idea to make a deal with this man.
Hey,
To save his own
apparently-
skin.
Hey,
You know that checks out.
hey,
Why are you giving him shit for that? You would have saved your own ass too. Or would you just let it eat you?
It is the sky. It is the animals in between heaven and hell. Okay, it opened up the concrete. There are beady, red-eyed motherfucking birds everywhere, and
That I'm aware.
they observe you. Okay,
I don't
they
think we
know
can
where
get
you're
away
at
from
all
this.
the time.
I don't think we can get away from this.
Plus, apparently,
So
it
what do you-
knows.
What are we planning to do about it? Because it's hungry, which means it's probably been in a hunger torpor for centuries, maybe.
I think
How
the
do you-
short term would be to feed it.
So it could come out of the ground and eat the rest of us.
It can do that if it wants to anyways.
It's stuck where it is currently.
Says
Don't you know how hunger torpor works?
Considering the fact of what I've seen tonight and what he's seen tonight, I don't believe that shit for a second.
What did you see?
And I'm going to describe the whole
Also-
scene with the crows.
Also, I'm glad y'all are alive, by the way. Because honestly, I thought y'all around there, the house was just gonna swallow y'all asses and then that'd be done.
I think it might
That
be
would've been
looking
shitty.
for the long term. But I had a run-in with the crows, and they have some reach. I don't think we can outrun this. So, like it or not, I think we're going to have to play ball.
So consign somebody to their death just to appease the house. That's your plan?
Do you want to volunteer for something else?
Yeah. We ignore it. We just move. We leave. Give this fucking place back to fucking what's her face? Go somewhere else. Mountain Avenue's a shithole anyway.
I mean, that brings up the question: where the hell do we go at that point?
Yeah, where are we going to go that's out of reach of the crows?
'Cause I'm pretty sure it's seen all of our faces.
And
By
you
this point.
assume that this thing can't move, and that its reach is only right at the house. That's a lot of assumptions that I'm not comfortable with.
Okay, I asked it why this house in particular. It said why not. It didn't give a reason. It just wants to be there, so it could pick
Which
up
makes
and
me
move
even
wherever
more
the hell it
convinced-
wants.
Which makes me even more convinced that it's a Zamisi that's very territorial.
Okay,
It
that still doesn't change anything.
No, it
man,
means a lot of things. It means we know what we're up against.
that's one hell of an assumption, bruh.
I don't see you coming up with anything better.
So we have
I think it's-
information. I think we need to play ball. Unless you want to just go ahead and try to fight it.
That is a terrible idea. Because if this thing is older than the house it's built upon it, then this thing was here
Way too much
before the
blood.
Camarilla.
The simple fact of it is a deal was already made.
And
If it's an ancient vampire, do you think it's going to like reneging a deal? And it's not going
you're
to come
just
after
okay
him?
with killing somebody?
Not just anybody, but I'm sure there's someone that we can sacrifice. I'd rather survive.
Sacrifice.
Yeah,
Sacrifice. Human sacrifice.
personally, I will give up someone that's an asshole, that's a piece of shit, that doesn't deserve to be around to stay on this earth a little bit longer.
I kind of
There
feed off
is-
of pieces of shit that I have to hunt down, so
I have an extreme aversion to that sort of thing. If that is what you want to do, by all means, do it by yourself. I will not be
I'm-
involved.
I'm the one that made the deal in the first damn place. So it kind of falls on my head to do the shit.
True.
Congratulations on taking responsibility for your actions.
I don't think that was ever in the question,
Motherfucker.
but
It was
like, do you
questioned.
do anything but bitch or criticize everything else that everybody does? Because that's all you've done since I've met you.
That's just my nature.
You should fucking work on that, bro, because you're a downer. A pain in the ass.
Oh, bro, if you think that's a fucking downer, when I asked him if praying would help even a tiny bit, he said, God has forsaken me. Like, what kind of fucking dude wants to hear that shit in middle. Sorry, inside voice.
Inside voice.
Inside voice. I'm gonna make you eat a sock the next 2 decibels you go up.
Omen.
Hey,
Omen. When you end up saying that, your eyes may tick upwards to the crucifix at the top of the church. Just be mindful of where you are.
Omen,
huh.
need I remind you that we are technically damned? Considering what we eat.
Listen, I don't believe that. Cause there are some people that get thrown into this shit and they was just living their normal ass life, okay? They could have been the nicest person in the world. Someone eats them, then they get thrown into this fucking shit. I honestly don't think, out of all the good deeds someone could have potentially done in their life, that God would kind of just say, fuck you in particular, cause another motherfucker just bit your ass, okay?
That describes about 99% of all kindred. The only people who have a choice in the matter have either choice to continue as a kindred or die in the process. You don't get a choice.
Yeah, so how can God say, fuck you in particular, when you don't really get a choice in the matter? I mean, that's kind of...
I didn't make the
doesn't
rules.
seem right. See, here's the...
Omen. As Adder says, I never made the choice. There's a familiar vehicle pulling up. Adder, you're very familiar with this vehicle.
Oh, he just got home, didn't he?
Well, makes sense. I guess somebody's waiting for him in the church.
Oh, great.
When this long, near hearse-style Cadillac pulls up, you end up seeing a man step out. He is old. I mean, ancient as dirt. Skin pale and old leather. Glasses and hat placed atop. Long blackened hair, coat with a white collar underneath. As he starts to pull out.
Well, I'm gonna be explaining to you.
He closes the door, locks it as he takes 2 steps towards the church, as though he hasn't noticed a thing, and then stops as his head turns. And you can feel the eyes looking behind those glasses at her. You can't see his eyes through it, as they almost brighten, the glass reflecting the street lights, illuminating them. But you know he's looking directly at you.
Hey,
He starts to walk towards. Boy, my boy, had a. How are you? Didn't expect to end up seeing you back so soon. And you brought your friends. Good seeing you. How you
Yeah.
doing, kiddies?
Doing great, sir.
That's good to hear. Omen, wasn't it? Omen. How you doing?
Yes.
His old hand starts to extend out to you. See it like as if the skin is barely hanging on to the bones.
Slowly
Yeah,
accept the handshake.
He grabs hold of your hand and shakes it very gently, like that old man's bit, but he ends up hanging on near to you. And when he ends up doing so, you feel it. It's like grabbing wet plastic a wet plastic bag filled with chicken bones. Trying to shake hands with that.
In my mind, I'm like, how the fuck is this even possible? Ugh, ugh.
seeing you, Omen.
It's nice to meet you. I talk to you too again, sir.
So polite this one. How is everybody doing? What brings you to God's house?
Well, we needed a place to talk, as the place to talk is currently overrun.
Oh, that could be a problem.
We're trying to sort that problem out.
And of course, let me not be rude. Colton, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So
And
see,
Colton will step up or like hop down off of the thing and walk up to him and shake his hand.
and when he does so, you get that same feeling. It's like it's like the bones just give way, and you can feel a little bit of movement, but it's just not there. There's nothing there.
Colton will be as polite and gentlemanly as he can to his southern self.
Good lad, as he puts his other hand on top of yours and pats it gently, kind of feeling what's left of your skin, and it's just weird. It's like the skin is following behind the bones almost loosely.
And, you know, Ruby.
And of course,
Ruby's just gonna give a little wave. I assume he's got cross hanging off of him.
oh yeah, you can see it when he steps forward to you. Ah, my dear, please come. It's good to end up seeing you here, Mademoiselle. How you doing? His hand extended out to you.
She's gonna reach for it,
Okay.
despite the hesitation.
Spend a willpower.
Yep. Because why not make this a little interesting?
Yeah.
And spent.
Okay. You take hold of his hand. You feel the same thing, and he lowers his head, kisses the top of your hand, though when he does so, it's dry. There's no saliva, no nothing, just dry. Like really it feels less of a kiss and more like somebody gently laid a catcher's mitt on the back of your hand. And he ends up doing so.
She is
Pretty.
trained not to grimace.
Pretty young thing. Adam, my boy, you and your little hair following, always welcome within the house of God here.
Well, about that, someone was already inside.
The reason I was showing up tonight, but I end up seeing my little Ada out here. The old man's child.
We do apologize for the intrusion.
Who here has a occult higher than 2?
Me. I have
Yeah, but Adder, you'd be the only one who'd be in on the joke.
yeah. No, I have occult 1. Never mind.
Okay. Anybody with occult 1 then, I would like a intelligence occult roll. Looking for at least 2. Because it's a little nuanced, but not game breaking, shall we say.
I can make this roll. Nope.
Only person who doesn't need to do it is Adder. Adder would be aware of this.
I more rolled as a joke because I have 1 dice in that entire pool.
Well, at least it wasn't a 1, so there's no critical failure. Omen, you gonna spend a willpower? You do have a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, I'm spinning willpower. I kind of want to know the inside joke. I'm a curious person, deep down. Nope.
Ruby. Maybe it makes sense on why you and Adder get along. Maybe to a certain degree. Adder's the old man's child. Another name for Satan.
She's just gonna give the two of them a sly smile once it hits her.
Allow me. Well, you said your place is overrun. You know, I know that feeling all too well. What kind of overrun we have? Got a cockroach problem. Nosferatu moved it back in.
If only it were that simple. And Adder's kind of trying to be a little vague. He doesn't want to give out all the details just yet. We're trying to resolve the issue before it becomes a broader problem. So, yeah. I don't want you to have to worry about anything.
I worry about everything that affects my boy.
We're fine.
My boy said that he's fine. I didn't think that there was a joke involved. Please do fill me in, Cole.
Oh. If that's what Ada would have you believe, then I'll go with it.
Are you calling my child a liar?
I don't think he told a lie.
I'm not a liar.
That being said, I'd like everybody to roll me. God, why am I forgetting the get power at this point? There we go. I'd like a composure subterfuge from everybody except Adder.
This would trigger my tempered will probably. It's a dominate power.
No, it is not.
Or what? Let me hold on. Let me reread what that does real quick. Because it gives me 2 dice to like anybody trying to use powers on me for mind stuff.
Okay, this technically could qualify. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna
Does my specialty of impeccable lies kick in?
No. This has nothing to do with anything you've said.
Is this composure subterfuge you said?
This is composure subterfuge.
I have shitty composure, so.
Not your problem, Matter.
Hmm.
Not your problem.
I'm aware.
Like I said, you don't have to roll. I will need one from Omen. Yep.
What's the
Dominate or presence, it says.
It doesn't. This doesn't. Then it wouldn't affect either.
Okay. Do you want me to re-roll without those 2 dice then?
Yes, please.
Copy that.
And go ahead, Omen.
what was the roll? Something dominant.
Composure. No, this is not a dominate roll. This is a composure subterfuge.
Yeah.
That
is it manipulation subterfuge?
Nope. Composure subterfuge. I need a composure subterfuge from Ruby, Colton, and Omen.
Is it sorry, my internet's been bad. Is it
Composure.
composure subterfuge? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. I finally caught it. My net is being
Shitty.
That's all right.
That's a 1.
Okay. Let's see here. And that's no one passing. So, Ruby, what is your emotional state right now?
She's pretty unnerved being on church ground. You know, everything was trying to figure out what's going on.
Omen, what's your emotional state right now? Omen?
I think he's having a blips.
He's having a...
Yeah.
All right. Colton, what is your emotional state right now?
Annoyed and angry.
Why?
Because of earlier people lying to him and just the whole conversation that he has dealt with.
Okay. All right. That also answers the next question I was going to ask, so we don't have to worry about that. And Omen's back. So Omen, I need to ask,
Thank God.
what is your emotional state right now?
I think his emotional state right now is stress.
Duress? Did I hear that right? Oh,
Like stressed.
stressed. All right, why are you stressed?
That's
Oh,
the ocean of that's
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot. So we'll get back to the Omen. Looks over. Well, my work's never done. Colton, dear boy, normally I don't allow dogs in churches, but for you, I'd make an exception. Won't you?
Me and Earl will appreciate that.
Oh, why don't you come join me for a spell? I know it ain't a confession booth, but my car works just fine.
I'll follow him. See what he wants.
And he opens up the car door for you. Allows you to slip in the passenger seat. Earl finds a comfy place right near the back, where all the loading would be. Looks like he's got some church supplies in the back or something along those lines. He looks at you for a brief moment. You can see through his glasses, his eyes shifted form. It looks like you're looking into the eyes of an old rattler. You seem untowards towards my child. I get it. That is young, impulsive. That's not my biggest concern. You seem to end up having, what do you end up saying? Trust issues.
Well, trust has been taxed this night. And with everything going on, it's just trying my patience.
Trying your patience.
Yes.
Why's that?
Well, I'll be frank with you. As a person, I don't mind Adder, but sometimes his predisposition to critique and, well, I'm just going to say it plainly, to bitch about everything that's not done exactly the way he would have done it, or made any decisions made without consulting him, is a bit taxing. Especially when these decisions may have been life or death. He can't seem to wrap his head around that he would have probably made the same choices if his balls were on the chopping block.
What an interesting way to describe it. Balls on chopping block. That's funny. I'm not offended. Too old to be offended. But Colt, you seem to misunderstand. Etta's general role is to try and help guide. Predisposition of the blood and all that, right? I mean, even you feel it, I'm sure.
Yes.
The hardest part about that whole thing, you have to really understand it, is that to make peace with it is the hardest part.
I have no doubt that we'll get there.
You
We just
sure?
haven't gotten. Well, it's not like we're going anywhere. We are members of Coterie. And that still means something to me, so. Even though I don't get along with him, I still have my coteries back. I still look out for them when I can.
That's a delicious sentiment, but how can they have your back if you... How can you have their back if you're building it on a pile of resentment? You sure that's you talking?
Well, I learned that you don't always have to get along with those you have to work with.
No, you don't. You don't.
The one thing I will say, I'm sorry that if my comments upset you earlier. I don't think he's lying, but I know he's not telling you everything.
Of course not. Wouldn't respect him if he did. Half the fun, you see.
Yeah.
The little games being played. You don't know what you're dealing with, Cole. And maybe that just comes down to his nature. So let me give you a little bit of godly wisdom, shall we? This point, you might want to end up seeing what it is to be leashed a little bit. I don't think you really understand it. Why it is that Colton does what he does. Or pardon, why it is Ada does what he does. You know why he picks things apart the way he does? Do you?
It's the way his mind works.
No.
Probably the way that he's survived.
Nah. because you are under a very misunderstood situation. You're young, right?
Yes, sir.
You ever work under the cam before?
I've honestly never worked under anybody before, really.
And therein lies the problem. You never had to. So you don't know what it's like in that regard. So how can you claim any kind of understanding of what he's talking about if you've never been? You don't have somebody who the second they say jump, you do so and try and bash your brains out on the ceiling, because you don't have the choice of saying how high. You just go as high as you can. You never had that before. And you're so quick to try and end up holding it against that you never really seen the other side of it. Ada has. You might want to respect that a little bit. Because he's trying to shepherd you and all you hear is bitching.
You're not wrong. I'll have to take that under consideration and try to see from that point of view.
Tell you what. Instead of fighting every step of the way, why don't you follow along? See how you like it. Not hold it on. You don't need to do it all the time. Just try it out. See what you think. Because at least you have the option to opt out. But play it like you don't. Like you really got no say to it. And maybe, just maybe, you'll understand that a little bit better than you think. More importantly, understand yourself and why it is that we are the shepherds of the Anarch movement. Is you were born free. You took it for granted. But end up deciding to make measures by talking about shit that you don't know.
That's what happens when you have an upbringing like mine.
Well, wisdom comes with experience. And how can you be wise to something you never experienced? What, everything you think is just academic? God has works in the ways he does because he doesn't take us to what we want. He takes us to what we need. And the little secret, one that nobody wants to say. We even become damned because we wanted to end up coming to heaven or would deserve to go to hell. No, he needed you. God's chosen predator. See, even he ended up making demons and devils. You think he did that without a plan?
Lot to think about.
Follow along for a little bit. See how it folds. See what happens.
What we're up against, I'm afraid to follow.
Yeah. So what happens when you didn't have a choice, Amanda? My boy's growing up to be something special. Can't do it if all he's doing is, yeah, well, trying to end up holding all of you together. But pointing out what can go wrong. Because that's the world that lives in. What can go wrong? You have to ask him about it. You might still be a kid, but he's my child. And if you respect me in that regard as you've shown tonight, try and think there might be something worth learning coming out of his mouth. Besides, you're on holy ground right now, parking lot included. You haven't burst into flame yet. Shouldn't that be a sign all unto itself?
I guess I got that going for me.
While this conversation's going on, I'm sure Adder and Ruby and Omen have something to talk about.
Alright, bro. So, what do, given the situation, your vote is to move somewhere?
It's an option that I don't think everyone's considering. Obviously, it's easier said than done. I didn't mean it to sound like it was going to be some easy feat. But it is an option.
Definitely is. What if it follows up?
So far as I can tell, you're the only one who's actually spoken to it.
I mean, yeah.
Colton did tell you he spoke to the birds, which he might have implied might have also been it, so technically that's not true. Technically.
Yeah.
Big C was talking to the birds up there, man.
What I'm saying is that as hard as it's going to be for you to hear, Omen, the reason we're in the shithole that we're in is because of your ego.
The fuck you mean my ego?
You said that the thing called you a little bitch, and that's where you got offended.
It said it smelled like bitch in here, alright? And mama didn't raise no bitch at her.
Well, apparently she did because you agreed to feed the goddamn thing just to get out of the basement.
Hey, bruh. Whose side is you fucking on? You the one that told me to go in the goddamn basement anyway.
You didn't have to listen. You know me. I'm a known smartass. You didn't have to
The line
listen
was
to me.
looking like shit anyway. Someone was gonna have to do it.
And we want to keep it looking like shit because we want to keep it that nobody lives there.
No motherfucker even walks down that street anyway.
That you know of. That says nothing for the daytime.
Honestly, I feel
Omen,
sorry
Omen.
for the motherfuckers that's just walking down the street during the daytime on that desolate ass road.
Omen. I told you it was going to be hard for you to hear.
Man. So
It
what
was your
was
ego
I
that got
supposed
it. I probably would have done something similar in,
What was
in
I
this
supposed to say?
situation.
Fuck you, fuck everything that you is, eat me, motherfucker. Like,
No, don't even suggest
And-
it. Just walk away.
I gotta intervene because you did tell him to keep the decibel level down, and now he's getting hyped again.
Mhm.
And
Sock.
as he says that, you realize Preacher's coming out of the car with Colton. And he's looking directly at Omen at this point, who is shouting in a church parking lot.
I told you about the sock.
don't you put that N-word in my mouth. Don't do it.
You have shouted since we got here, Omen. You're lucky I didn't shove this in your mouth first thing.
Listen, okay, it was small up until you.
All I
Yes.
did was poke at something that you need to admit to yourself.
Anyone in my situation would have did the same fucking thing, man. Is all I'm
wasn't-
saying.
And
That's
what
not-
situation would that be?
Hey, what?
Child in distress. You feel these hands. You think they're hands. It's like, again, that
Oh,
chicken bones in a wet plastic bag just on your shoulders at this point. Like trying to massage the stress out.
Look, I think
Omen was
If
just
we want-
expressing his issue with his ego.
I ain't got no damn ego. Hmm?
I think we should get the advice of someone that's smarter than us, because we're not going to agree.
Hey,
Is that the problem? Omen. You hear him. He's whispering in your ear. Leaning
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah, mm. I mean, a tiny bit. Mr. Preacher Man.
Tiny bit.
I ain't got no problem. I ain't got no problem with what we do. This night has
You sound a little distraught. You're in the presence of God. He kind of slowly pushes your attention to the church as he whispers into your ear. What harm can fall upon you here?
You know, God really needs to give me a hug right now because I need.
And as soon as you say God needs to give you a
Oh.
hug, he envelops you entirely. Those old arms reaching around you.
Oh Lordy, why? Thank you, Mr. Preacher Man.
You
I
feel him
feel
press his chest to your back.
Mm.
He's a lot taller than he looks when he's not hunched over.
Oh God. Why?
Why
That being said,
Thank you for the hug.
You're in good hands, you.
Yep. Definitely am.
So tense.
You know, it's been a long, it's been a what interesting night.
been
You
a
know,
constant state since I've met him.
You know,
Oh,
I haven't been able to,
He's very,
work out
very twitchy
my
person.
stress.
Well, given to what we've gone through in that house, can you blame him?
I've been working through my stress. I ain't been able to work through my stress. So it's building up. I can care of that tomorrow. Yeah. Mhm. Yep.
Is there a tomorrow for you, Omen? He hasn't let you go, just to be clear. You can
God
still-
willing.
God willing. God willing. Well, I have it on good authority then. That you have it tomorrow. But don't
That's wonderful.
wait for the day. After all, you might be immortal right now, little Omen. But don't mean you're not on borrowed time.
I mean, when you think about it, we all are somewhat, depending on what kind of lives we have lived. You know?
He releases you. See? But he doesn't completely let you go. His hand just goes back to his shoulders. He leans over. You can catch him out the corner of your peripheral. That eye that looks to the side behind his glasses looking at you like an old rattlesnake.
Oh. Yeah.
You sound nervous, Omen. Why are you nervous? He tries
I'm
to
not.
squeeze your shoulder like he's trying to massage it, but what you really feel is just the bones again.
Ooh, oh. I'm not nervous. I'm just, just need to. I haven't listened to my common side in a while. I just need to take a couple minutes to calm the nerves.
Should enjoy time in the choir. Start to sing with the angels. Bring a little bit of peace to the world, and in doing so, it brings it back to you.
I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of a horrible baritone in choir. I mean,
Well, you got time to work on that now, don't you?
I suppose. Yeah. I mean, holding one's craft while we have time.
Appreciation for one's circumstance. See that, Omen? You sound more relaxed already.
Yep.
That's
more,
what
more,
we need.
more relaxed. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now,
Definitely relaxed.
good. Because I'd really like to have a quiet church. When I hear somebody starting to yell, starting to sob, starting to cry, it brings out an instinct in me,
Completely understandable. Mhm. Wouldn't want your peace ruined.
I don't want your peace ruined. You see, we can work together on that.
Yep. Mhm.
Mutual.
Yep.
That's why I told you to stuff a sock in it.
Yep. Peace and quiet. Calmness. Calmness on the parking lot. Everyone's calm. Mm-hmm.
And when he stops, he starts to walk towards Ruby.
And she is taking a couple steps back.
My dear, my door's always open. For any who need it, those who seek shelter, those who need an ear. And looks to Adam. You and I will be having a conversation in the near future.
Yeah.
Relax, my son. He's always watching.
Understood.
But I have a member of the congregation to get back to. So, if it's all nice and handled, then I won't pry into your little business. Just know I'm always with you, my son. Go with God.
And so with you.
Every night starts to give a little bit of a flourish of a bow before he starts to make his way to the church, hunched over, almost like he needs a walking cane. He'd probably look pretty good in it if it wasn't for the old drab, like something out of a western. He starts to make his way into the church.
What are we going to do?
We have a couple options. Both of which are, well, the ones that I can think of are either difficult or, depending on the person, objectionable. We either do what Omen was intending to do and sacrifice somebody to the beast that lives under the house, risking them fully waking up and joining the grander society that we live in today versus however many hundred years ago they went to sleep, and not knowing what kind of havoc that will wreak. This city's already in a bit of a upstart because of what happened at the stadium. 2, we just leave it alone and find someplace else to visit. I know that this was the one that I chose. I chose poorly. I didn't do my due diligence and investigate the place before actually introducing it to you all. That's my bad.
To be fair, I don't think anyone could expect a old fucking vampire to be close.
The only thing I worry about that is we don't know the influence this thing has. It's already proved to have a reach outside of the house. I don't know how far that goes.
A reach. In the form of animals at the moment. In the form of illusions in the basement. Now, what it can do beyond that, we're not sure. I have suspicions that it's a species, as they are incredibly territorial, even the younger ones.
But it wouldn't explain the illusions, would it?
No, that's what I don't get.
Something's not right in this puzzle piece.
And I need to know more. I can't... That Zamisi doesn't exactly fit, but it's the most likely answer. Unless it's... There's a couple of other clans it could be, but even those are even more unlikely.
I should probably.
It could not be a vampire.
That's entirely possible too. It could be a werewolf.
Well, if werewolves and us are real, what other things are real from the stories? The fairy tales?
That's something I'd
The
rather not
legends.
think about.
But it's safer to assume it does. Because if you heard about it in some kind of storybook, some kind of mythology, some kind of religious text, it's likely that some form of that does exist, as the many different forms that a vampire can take exist. Not all of it's true to every vampire, but all of it's true to someone.
So it still comes down to a choice.
Researching.
What do we want to do in the short term?
And I think that is a phenomenal place to take a break. Be right back, everybody. Welcome back to Winnipeg by Night. The coterie is just outside a preacher's church, discussing what to end up doing. The offer of feeding their current residents and the repercussions that may have. After Omen, Colts, and Ruby had some discussion with Preacher at her sire, the question still remains what they're going to do. The question: are they willing to sacrifice a soul to end up being able to have a moment's peace, to get on the good side with this evil that has rooted itself within the land of their own domain? Such a simple thing to end up arguing as predators. But then again, it could be argued that it's their humanity that serves against the bulwark of the beast. To just throw that away without consideration. Well, they really would be the monsters of folklore, then, wouldn't they? Such is the balancing act, and the hard choices to be made in the world of darkness. And so we come back to it. Sitting on the back of Colton's truck with the tailgate down as a seat, they gather. Ruby, I have no doubt that you still find it a little unnerving to be around this house of God, going as deep as you can. You're trying to not focus on the idea that thing, this. You think that the house that you take up residence in is bad, but here you feel something that just makes it damn near impossible. A force of will just to end up being on the premises. And even then, it becomes taxing. Omen, Colton, Adder, and Ruby. You find yourselves in heated debate, an argument on what to do next. And maybe somewhere out there, unbeknownst to them, their life is being discussed as currency. And thus the scene begins.
Well, at this point, what's
Oh, I think we lost lost Omen already.
Oh.
There.
Mhm.
Oh, no. Noise.
So what are we thinking? I don't like it, but I think it's our only choice. It's the safest choice.
It's not the only choice, it's the easiest choice.
I didn't say it was the only choice. If I did, I misspoke. I meant it was. I think it's the safest choice.
Okay.
I think we don't know how far we can reach,
That's what I'm worried about.
but
We also don't
there's
know
only
what
one way to
accusing
find
it's going to
out.
do.
There's only one way to find out the answer to that question, and that's we move. If it has a far enough reach to get us wherever we go, then we can figure out where to go from there. I don't like the idea of feeding it.
I don't either. But let's play a hypothetical out, okay? If we do, what then? It starts begging for more. To the point where maybe, just maybe, it digs itself up out of the dirt, whatever it is. Is it going to be satisfied with the fact that we're kind of baiting it into a sort of security system? Is the information, Omen, about your sire worth the life of a person?
Of multiple people, perhaps.
Potentially multiple people. One person for certain if we do this today. Because I know that's knowledge that you want. Badly. I mean, you clearly stated it just a little while ago.
Yeah.
What happened? Why is this so important to you?
As much as I give my sire shit, even in death, at the time he was the only person in my corner at the time. And we actually hit it off fairly well. We even called him, well, would have called him a dear friend up until the time I ended up accidentally fucking kicking the bucket. Dude never really fucked with people. He stuck to his own mostly, but he did have his mischievous side, fucking with people a little bit here and there. But he was one that tried to help out people. And it never sat right with me that the one night I wasn't by his side, I don't know if Metis was there or not, but the fact that I could have potentially been there to help him out, he fucking got beheaded. Someone
Shit.
ended him, and I haven't been able to find out where my fucking broodmate is or anyone around that saw anything. And I want to fucking end the person that decapitated my sire. So, getting answers to who did that, Yeah,
Basically, your life goal.
yeah, basically.
Okay.
A lot of even say other than like my actual pops, he was damn well near it.
Where did this go down?
If I remember correctly, this happened around. If I remember correctly, Derek, didn't we agree that his haven was in Matthias's area?
That would be correct.
Yeah, that happened. It happened in Matthias's area.
That was recently.
Um, nah, that was around when the shit with the cam leaving.
Right around the time the cam left.
Yeah. I've been trying to scrounge for information anywhere I can, and honestly, it ain't turned up shit.
Well, if it happened in Matthias's domain, you're probably not going to find your answers on Mountain Avenue. But that remains to be seen. I Did I ever hear about that kind of an event happening back then? Some brouhaha getting bumped off?
Some brouhaha getting bumped off. So let me paint a picture of history for those who don't know. When the Cam was in charge of Winnipeg under Prince Dufresne, central and southern and eastern portions of the city were held very tightly by Cam rule. This wasn't just your aristocracy. This was killers. The worst of the worst. Because that's what the city was designed to bring out. Everybody in the north and west side, no matter if you're Anarch or Cam, pledge your allegiance or anything of the like, the entire location was built as a proving ground. Gang violence being used for cover of hunts, diablerie. Public executions, surprisingly, were rare. Mostly, however, it came down to the Camarilla's influence in the more war-torn portions of the city. Two characters that come to mind were Samantha and Decca, a feud between them for time immemorial. Ended up costing a lot of lives as they turned the entire north end to their playground. And so many getting caught up in their games. The amount of kindred that have fled to Winnipeg just because they had no place else to go, be you trying to escape a anarch revolution happening in your city, or you found yourself on the red list, didn't much matter. Trying to get across the sea is tricky. Trying to get across the ocean is tricky. By boat, high likelihood you'll be exposed to sun or storm, sink to the bottom, down to the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench, or by flight, easy to hit, track, easy for the Second Inquisition to look into. Trying to get across borders can end up becoming tricky, not just in the kind sense, but in the kindred sense, as many jealously guard their own borders, wanting to know who's coming in, who's going out. A whole new age of informational warfare has begun in the 21st century, leaving very few in North America many places of refuge, save for one. It's said that if you were on the list, if you were chased out and hunted across the continent, you can go to Winnipeg, and they will just presume that the city sort you out. Not a unjustified assumption. Violence was the currency of the land, along with favors. in this realm, a Bruja getting clipped, it would be beneath most notice. Because if you're not a part of the cam, then you're not held up to cam law. And if cam law doesn't exist, well, you got anarchy. Anarchy that has been shaped by the Camarilla into a horrifying machine of Darwin's worst nightmares. The strong survive. Those with guile survive. Those who are able to take the fight to both the hunters, the werewolves, diablerists. Those who can survive in that situation would find themselves a place in court. And that court guarded its position with a violence and jealousy that would almost be unbecoming of most princes, save for Dufresne, a gangrel who had no hesitation as to what their city was. When Prince Dufresne left, who was in charge? The four barons trying to end up claiming territory as quickly as possible, trying to claim position as quickly as possible, has left a realm of chaos that has had a lot of stuff lost in the shuffle. Omen's personal mystery in this backdrop is not only more than understandable, it makes it almost an impossible task. Almost impossible.
And I'll relay that story to Omen and tell him whoever did it, they're either long gone, long dead, or they left with the cam. And you don't want to get in a fight with either Samantha or Decca. Essentially, we're scourges in the city.
The old man talked about them. Honestly, if I had to fight them, I'll find a way to fucking take them down. Honestly. Don't care how fucking long it takes, man.
Word is they went with the court. They left Canada altogether. Word on the grapevines, they went to Detroit. And where they went after that, it's anybody's guess.
It doesn't explain what happened to the broodmate there.
You said his name's Metis?
Metis, yeah. She. Kind of cunning, conniving, bit schemish. But
What she look like?
Long gray hair. Kind of thin. Kind of bit lanky, I guess you could say. Green eyes. Always think she's the smartest person in the room, honestly. And I'd have to give it to her. She usually is given most situations.
Do I know of anybody in the city who looks like that?
Roll me a intelligence and politics.
And I have a specialty in Winnipeg.
Yep, this would definitely qualify.
There's 5.
is. Name doesn't ring a bell. But the descriptor? Descriptor definitely ends up coming to mind. You're pretty sure that they end up hanging around, bouncing between, well, they end up having this tendency to bounce between Silverstein and Matthias's domain. Maybe the no man's land between their domains is their particular stomping grounds. Makes sense. Matthias is ever the Machiavellian type, and Silverstein very much has an appreciation for intelligence. If she is all she cracks herself up to be, she'd be a worthy prospect for either domain. And given that Silverstein's violence is typically pointed inward rather than external, makes it one of the more, I hate to say the term peaceful, as these barons are not in league with each other, but it definitely ends up meaning that they both might be reaching towards a understanding, if not to add to their numbers, at the very least, a very intelligent kindred who understands the game.
Name doesn't ring a bell. But I have seen someone like that. Hanging out with Silverstein and with Matthias. May be who you're looking for, may not be.
Between those areas.
It's another avenue for answers.
Alright, that gives me something.
But knowing how important this is to you, just want you to know what you're getting us into. Because, like I said, could potentially be a vampire. Seems very likely to be a vampire if he feeds on blood. I wouldn't normally be this quick to jump on a situation and try and deal with it early, as I like to have all of the information in my hand to be able to make a critical decision. However, you have made a deal, and sometimes those things find frames. And we're slowly but surely running out of time. So, stating again the hypothetical. We feed this thing, it gets hungrier, it comes after us anyway. That's possibly the worst case scenario, as we don't have to deal with then the ramifications of things after our own passing. We're dead. But if we are here for the rest of it, this thing is older than the dirt it lives in. And if that's the case, it means that it was here while the cam was here. Now, it either went into hiding from the cam, or it was hiding for the cam. Either situation means that it wakes up very, very hungry and lives in a world that doesn't exist anymore. Shell shock, lashing out, possibly could run into problems for us and other people, kindred mostly, in this domain, that are not prepared for a ancient vampire waking up. It's why I kind of wanted to keep it under wraps a little bit with Preacher, because I don't want to worry him.
Makes sense. It
But we
definitely
could
was.
ignore it and wait for it to come after us, like Ruby has suggested it might. Or we feed it and see what happens. Because I could be wrong. I am 100% willing to accept when I am wrong. It could be the best case scenario. This could be an incredible boon for us. But I'm erring on the side of caution. Because old vampires get antsy every now and again and want to destroy things. And I have witnessed a lot of destruction in this city. There have been a lot of kindred that I would have called my friends in the mosh pit that ended up as toys for Decca and Samantha. And they didn't make it. And I did. So, those are your choices. What do we do? You have everything that I know.
I think feed it once, satiate it for the time being, but however much time we have after that, start at least trying to look for a different crib to shack up in, just in case it starts getting more wanting.
So the options read both. Colton, Ruby.
Yep.
If you want to do both, then by all means. I just want no part in feeding it myself. I think that should mostly be on Omen.
This is my bread and butter anyway.
Then, my child, you shall have to bear your own cross.
Not like I haven't done that before. So.
What about you, Colton? Where'd you think go?
I think it'd be the smart thing to, on the short term, feed it until we figure out more. We need more information, at least more time to deal with the plan.
Ideally, I would like that more than anything.
I think we all would.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't like it, but I think we have to.
Alright.
Alright.
So who are we killing?
Well, I got a few phone calls to make. I keep a stash of a few profiles. Keep on people that most people don't like, grudges, wrongdoings people have done. So.
No, don't go after the gangs. The gangs it'll get noticed.
Don't worry, I've had to go through this more than once. part of my thing to get rid of things that no one will miss.
If your thing is to get rid of someone who won't be missed, a homeless person.
I'm against that. That should be someone that deserves it. I don't care if it leaves a trail for gangs.
Like I said, my forte is how I hunt anyway. I'll call y'all in a bit to tell you how it went.
Can you do this alone?
That's how I've hunted alone many times.
If
We're
you
all
want to do it that
accomplices.
way. If you want to do it that way, then
If that helps to ease your conscience, but we're all accomplices in this.
well, I know that.
Just making sure you remember.
Hmm.
So, go to.
Give me about 5 minutes. I'll tell you where.
Oh, I'm going with you, bud.
Yeah, but I'd rather get not in the context right now.
Omen,
It's skittish. Yeah.
I would like for you to make me a feeding roll at this point. Because this is part of your pursuer hunting. So this is effectively a hunting roll. We are looking now. We are looking specifically for we're on a chase 2, so we need a 5+. Now you've been offered help, but you're only going to get help from the people you accept. But if they help you, they are involved in this.
I'd rather not have people take stains because of me. I did say he was going to tell all.
It comes down to you. You said you were burying it alone. I'm giving you the chance to accept help. If not, then you're making this roll alone. We're looking for 5+. This is not an easy domain to hunt in. But going outside of that domain is going to cause problems.
I think I'll go alone.
Very well then. I would like your hunting roll, please. As you are a pursuer, if I recall.
Correct.
That's 3 successes. We need 5. You have 3 dice, but that gives you less than a 50-50 chance. However, I will give you a succeed at a cost as an option as well.
Oh boy. What's the cost?
Ed's not in this scene, so I get to inject him where I think it's most prevalent.
Ooh. Hmm. Get to inject Ed where you think it's most prevalent. Hmm. Damn, that's a toss up. I feel like this is gonna bite me in the ass. Um,
Well, it wouldn't be a succeed at a choice nor at a cost if it didn't cost you anything.
yeah, that's true. That is true.
You could always willpower it, though the odds of you making it at this point, and it's pretty late into the night.
I think I'm gonna willpower.
Sure.
Uh,
I'm a horrible, horrible storyteller.
I'm
You will
see
what?
what my dice can give me.
See what your
Willpower.
dice. All right. You need 2 successes on the willpower.
Ooh.
Barely
Barely.
squeaks through. Barely squeaks through.
Skin of your teeth, my man.
But that is 5 successes. Omen. You go back to the house. Trunk of the car. Body bag. They're not dead yet, but it makes it easier for transport. I don't think we want to get into the details. Suffice it to say, there's that bloody set of tools they lying in your back seat. It especially got nasty when the needle's nose pliers had to be involved. But then again, you're the one who said he had this coming. Getting the right answer, getting the right person. Sometimes that comes at a cost. You start to pull him out, bring him into the house. This is the closest you've ever parked that car of yours to the house. What are you thinking, Omen? This is yours alone.
Never gets easier. Usually I don't cross my rule, but in certain cases I have to. Beating someone with an inch of their life proves a point that change your ways, or next time you could be dead.
There won't be a next time here, Roman. There won't be a next time.
There won't. And that's the sand running out for them. If I have found an individual that has caused so much shit and turmoil to people, that I have your name and I know who the fuck you are, your time has run out. At this point, everyone gets what's coming to them eventually.
And what does that mean for you, Omen, when somebody eventually says, you have this coming? Maybe that thought is interrupted when the door to the basement just, like as if it wasn't closed properly, suddenly opens up just a bit and creaks, being opened not more than a few inches.
You really can't wait, can you? Of course you can. Keep fucking haunting this place. But I guess this is your place after all. So, at this point, hoisting up the individual over my shoulder and start going towards the door. Still leaves a bad taste in my mouth every time.
You can always turn back, Omen. You usually brutalize, but you give people a chance. You at least give them a fighting chance to change their ways. This is not justice. This is cold, calculated murder for your own benefit. Maybe there's a part of your soul left that is pleading with you. That little bit of a ghost of a conscience. Lord tests us, Omen. And who knows that better than the damned? But then again, you're not going to get your answers if you don't. What is this thing going to do if you decide to turn back on your word? Isn't it so nice, so much easier to just say you don't have a choice? Isn't that really what this is about?
It would be so much fucking easier if that was the case. Sadly, the truth will remain regardless. What could have been?
Your choice, Omen. Live or die. I guess the more important question is am I talking about the man in the body bag right now, or am I talking about you?
I need answers.
What's your decision, Omen?
My hands have been bloodied before. I need an answer. So this person's gonna have to go.
What do you do, Omen?
I go down to the basement floor and gently set the person in the center of the room. All right. I've made my decision. I expect my answer.
Omen. You feel something in the concrete shift. And as you look towards the individual, you see the concrete crack and split. But not in the way it normally does. No, this is turning in on itself. Starting to churn as vines, roots start to cover the individual. He tries to scream through the gag as he feels his arms and legs mulched into the stone and concrete. As he's being pulled down, you can see the roots not only tie into him, but start to pierce into him. Like the tree roots of old, these dead things coming to life, starting to feed on him for nutrients. You see as he's pulled down deeper. He's screaming over and over through that gag as much as he can. Some combination of pain and terror, not knowing what's going on. It's not quick. In fact, you're not even sure if he's dead by the time the concrete settles back into the floor. Maybe just a little bit, you can still hear him crying through the gag. Beneath the floor, beneath the concrete. Trying to cry for help. Pleading for some kind of mercy.
Mercy won't come for you. Nor me when it's over. All right. I know you can hear me. You owe me an answer to my question. That was the deal.
You wait. Nothing is said. No figure comes from the wall, no rumblings of the house, no shifting beneath your feet. Betrayal, maybe. You wait, Omen. And eventually, I imagine, be it out of boredom or impatience, you eventually go back upstairs. Maybe you've been lied to. Until you stop, realizing how late it is, the sun will come up. You see something. Something's fluttering out the window. And as you go to see it, it sits itself right on the front porch. Has something in its mouth.
I would go up to it. Try and take what's in its mouth. What is this?
Looks like a card. It's old. It's been stepped on quite a few times. As if it was just thrown aside, or maybe was pulled out of a wallet after somebody ended up stealing it and just throwing it aside. But what you see is a card belonging to a manager at the Winnipeg Convention Center. And you might remember talking to Baron Matthias.
working course. Figured. Not that many rewarded items around here. It would make sense. I'm gonna pocket the card. Okay. Going to end up texting the group saying it's done.
And it's at that point, Omen, you see somebody coming up the walkway. It's Eddie, the Thin Blood. You remember the one that Colton discovered?
Uh, hey Eddie.
Hi. I'm, I'm not sure if this is. If you gave this to me or not. He kind of looks and he's holding what appears to be a card in stained red ink and earth. It appears to be a invitation. A bird ended up coming over and putting this down. The address is here, and I like what? I didn't know what was going on. I thought this was what did you call it? Twilight Zone.
Yeah, this place is eerily close to that. Let me see that.
Yeah. He hands it to you. You see it's written on a piece of paper that seems to be scrounged up or dug out. It feels really old and damp. And written in that red ink. I recognize the guests within my home. Under my protection. Be at ease. Come in to my abode of your own free will. No harm shall come to those within my borders. For those who serve the Order Dracul. And you see a small signature, impossible to read out. Well, it's not a signature, it's probably more like a sigil printed out in place of a signature. Does it mean something?
it means quite a bit. Quite a fucking bit.
Now, we're going to transfer over. Let's go to Adder. Adder, you are probably the one person who is the most against this situation. You were probably the one who was most against sacrificing a life for a brief moment of reprieve. And yet, in the end, you get a text message saying it's done. Where are you right now? And what are you doing? And what are you thinking at this moment in time before the sun comes up?
Well, probably during that point, I was having a conversation with Ruby. That she wanted to have a chat, so here we are. Sleeping over again at my haven, because daylight's coming on us. Did you get the message?
Yeah, I did.
Great. Well, we'll find out tomorrow night what that means.
Yeah?
Assuming
just
there
hope-
is a tomorrow night.
Let's just hope it goes in our favor.
You know, it's very hard for me to think positively in that regard. Because right now, all I want to do, if it wasn't for the sun coming out, I'd probably run to safety.
Well, glad you're not.
I can't leave my bestie behind.
And I'm crazy enough to stand in the middle.
So, Eddie, assuming we live to see tomorrow and the next few nights,
I assume you've realized who exactly he is.
oh yeah. It was plain as day, obvious. The
Oh, yeah.
night that he was brought over. I didn't want to let anybody else in on that. It was between you and me.
Colton suspects something.
Of course he does. He's smart.
He doesn't know exactly what it is.
Nope. Ruby, sound like your mic died on you just then. There you
Older
go.
headset. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, the other one's yelling at me.
So, he suspects something, but not the thing.
He can't put his finger on it. Give him enough time and he won't.
Well, Eddie came from one of us. And I don't recall shoving blood down the guy's throat. Do you?
I don't either, but... And she's looking at the palms of her hands. I was bleeding. Remember?
Yeah.
Stigmata.
That little condition that you are the exemplary image of Jesus Christ himself.
Despite being the godless whore.
No, I wouldn't say that. You were choosy. You're not a whore.
Yeah, it depends on the night.
And that being said, so you're thinking he's yours.
I have a sneaking suspicion he is. Nothing I can confirm because I didn't expect stigmata to perform like that. To be honest, I've never heard that happen.
So
It's
far as I
always
understand, now this could be. I've not actually attempted to embrace anybody by any means, but from what I understand, there are two ingredients: the blood and a desire. The desire
apparently,
in that moment between both of us was this guy's got to live.
despite what my worst half thought. That brings us to the next question. What do we tell him?
Well, he's baby, and babies don't do well with overwhelming information. I know I didn't. I was probably just the same as Eddie when I was that first night, and I was a goddamn mess. And then I realized that I was in Winnipeg and how much bigger of a mess that was. And then I realized the political situation of the city I was in was meant to terminate me. So, yeah, it wasn't exactly the easiest upbringing.
I got off a little bit luckier in Denver.
What made you leave?
Fights, you could say. Daddy Dearest didn't exactly agree with what I was doing.
And what were you doing at the time?
You know, I owe you one.
You owe me several, but who's counting?
Me and an Kavy had a thing going. We're using each other more or less.
Okay.
He didn't like that. Drove out the other Malkavian. Kept becoming a point of tension between the two of us, so I said, "Okay," pulled together what funds I had and made my way out.
But you don't just come to Winnipeg. Given the reputation that this city has in North America, you don't just run here for no reason. I mean, having a fight with Daddy Dearest, big whoop, everybody does. Even me and Preacher have disagreements.
No, but certain older, crazier folk might give them a stopping ground. Place to stay for a bit. Maybe I'll be found here, maybe I won't. Remains to be seen.
Nobody comes chasing you if you come to Winnipeg. Nobody comes looking.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I haven't felt a lot of trouble believing it was just a fight with Daddy Dearest. And you don't have to spill the beans. Just, it's a curiosity about you.
I don't know why I chose Winnipeg, but that is the truth. That is why I left Denver. I got tired of being controlled.
I can respect that.
But here I am anyway.
On Mountain Avenue, of all places. What are we going to do about the eventual feeding problem? We're already slim pickings as it is. And you, with your rather exotic condition, make that very hard sometimes to go out in public.
Try to keep it controlled.
Yeah, but
Try to feed more often. That's the only thing I can do.
it's the only thing we can do. The mosh pit all over again.
What about Eddie? You said he had trouble feeding the other night?
Yeah.
What are we going to do about that one? Outside of course, the numbers issue we currently have going.
The numbers issue is the biggest issue. The baby teeth issue. That's unique. That's I don't know that that's a commonality among thin bloods, but then again, I don't think I've known very many thin bloods long enough to know whether they had baby teeth or not. So
Eddie's the only one I know. Can he at least close the bite or the wound or whatever?
as far as I could tell, was that I was able to tell that, wasn't I? Or was it
No,
me that
you were
closed
the
it?
one who closed it.
I was the one that closed it. Okay, so I don't know. I don't know offhand. The other thing that he might be able to get away with is he's gonna have to find ways to get it by bags or some other means of getting it out if he's gonna do it by himself, because we're all not gonna be there to help him every time.
Mm-mm.
Eventually, I would like him to be off of the short leash that we have him on. It, it's just my luck, isn't it?
It really is.
That the person who was altruistic about this whole thing regarding Eddie, that I'm the one teaching him how to do this shit.
It's almost fitting if you think about it. You being the preacher's kid and all.
Well, must shepherd the flock.
Exactly.
Because who else is gonna?
We'll work with him. Figure out what he can and can't do.
I know that you suggested that he stay on with us
I think he can be useful.
once we find out what that is.
Right.
But give him time, and eventually tell him you're mommy dearest.
That's going to be one hell of a conversation.
Seem to be having it easy enough with me. He's an adult. He's a baby Kendra, but he's an adult.
Let's situate his feeding, and then we'll see about telling him.
One step at a time.
That way, if he decides to run away from home, he won't be creating any messes.
Not with those teeth. Well, actually, a human bite is more of a crush. You realize that?
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about it too deeply until I realized that my fangs pierce.
I read that somewhere once. I think next time one of us takes him feeding, we pay attention. If he can, that's easier to work with. If he can't, that brings on a whole slew of problems.
Well, that's a problem for tomorrow, if tomorrow comes.
And I think that is a good place to end up jumping over to finish it out with Colton. Between Adder and Ruby having a chance to discuss and Omen off to end up making a sacrifice, that leaves the last portion of the evening for you tantalizingly free. However, go ahead.
No, if you have something.
No, by all means.
Uh, Depending on how much time is left, I would probably hit up a contact.
Now, who are we contacting and why?
One of my criminal contacts, because I want to get the name of as many fences as I can get my hands on.
That's not particularly difficult. Not for a man in your position, given what you know. A well contacted man who has more than once had to sully his hands in the criminal underworld of Winnipeg.
I want to set myself up for an investigation tomorrow night.
Using what? How? What's going on in your mind right now, Colton?
Well, I made a promise to look into something. I know a couple of identifiable things that were taken from a friend of mine. So I want to look into fences and chop shops, see if I can figure out who brought it in, who's dealing in this stuff.
After all, what are friends for? And I think that, then, is a really good place to end up calling it an evening.
Well,
Let's start off with the fun stuff, shall we? Jump right into it. Thank you very much, everybody, for playing. Omen, I'm going to need you to end up taking 3 stains and roll a remorse roll, shall we?
Yeah.
You just committed first-degree murder.
Yeah.
For a little bit of information and a little bit of placation.
This leaves me with 1 die.
And you somehow managed to retain your humanity. Omen, this shit will haunt you. However, some good news. Because of your sacrifice and owning up to it, in your domain of no man's land, Portalon is now at a 3. So if you guys need an update to your sheet, it is really hard to accost anything in your domain because, well, it would seem that all of the creatures between heaven and hell at least have your interests in mind. So you end up having that to end up contending with. Sounds like a good portion to end up starting off. And now we get... I don't think there's any other stains we have to check into. Does anybody have any?
Well, maybe the stains in Omen's shorts from having to go back down in the basement, but...
Yeah.
Well, you know, those never come out.
Unless I indirectly thou shalt not kill.
No, that's an emphasis on killing. You already placed your vote, but it's... I'm not going to be that harsh on it because that kind of undermines a specific tenet in this chronicle that I wanted to make it a point. It has to be by a direct choice in this one, because that's the importance of the Anarch Chronicle. So, we are going to end up jumping into the fun part, ladies and gentlemen, experience.
Yay!
So, we do experience a little bit differently than your typical Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle here in Winnipeg by night. Normally, experience is given based off of completion of a arc and what have you. We instead break it down to 5 categories we need to end up going. So the very first category is everybody who shows up gets 1 point of experience to play with. Why? Because everybody loves powers, everybody loves capabilities, and ultimately we're a storytelling chronicle focused. So, we're going to end up getting that right out of the gate. Then, Pardon me. I have 3 categories of experience to end up handing out, which are voted by the players, which is who pushed the plot, who had the best scene, and who had the best line. This is voted by the players, not myself. I have no influence in who gets the experience here, and it makes for a fun, competitive environment. But the last one, that 5th point of experience, comes down to you, the audience. So, you can currently end up seeing that the poll is up. Who is going to end up getting the next point of experience? And that is where you get to end up using your channel points to vote everybody who end up coming in. It could be you just like the player, you like the character, you like the name, you like the clan, whatever it is. You don't have to justify it to us. You just need to end up casting your vote. Now, I can see the polls are already underway, so that's always a good start. That being said, let's start off with the votes from the players. Ooh, a little bit tired today. So, let's start off with who pushed the plot. Who's the primary plot pusher in here? Be it main plot, side plot, personal plot. Who do you think pushing the most plot here?
I wanna vote for myself, but honestly, I'll give it to Adder.
Oh.
Good. No.
Generous.
So there's 1 vote Adder by Omen. Okay.
Adder.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say. I think it was me or Adder with like some of the stuff that we did for personal and just like the sheer amount of stuff that we did.
Am I hearing that as a 3rd vote Adder? Is that what you're leading
Yeah.
into?
Unanimous Adder.
Okay, Adder, congratulations. You end up getting to dunk on it this episode. All right,
Hey,
congratulations. All right, let's go to the second one then.
I
Who had
like
the best
me.
scene?
Omen.
I mean, I was gonna put my hand up in the ring for interactions with Preacher, but
Omen for one of 2 scenes. One, the whole entire thing with the hug from Preacher, or giving the basement the body.
Yeah, I'll give it to Omen.
You know what? That's fair. I'll give it to Omen too.
Okay, wow, we're going through this pretty quick. I guess that only ends up leading who has the best line. Which I'm not going to influence, but I know who my vote would be.
God, I need a hug.
I'm so glad I didn't need to say it.
I need a hug from God right now.
How you doing?
Creepy asshole man.
But you know what? He's got good characterization. He knows what he is. He knows what he wants.
I'll give it to Omen.
Yeah.
I was gonna throw my hat in there. You know me. I'm a known smartass. Why would you listen?
Why would you listen to anything I have to say?
Yeah, I was thinking for me, but
Followed up with Adder going, "Why does nobody listen to me?"
But I do have a contender in the ring though. I do
Okay.
want to point out for Adder to Ruby, you're choosy. You're not a whore.
No. Raven, my brain went smartass. Like, it all depends on the bank account.
I saw that. I saw that.
I'm like, come on, that's a layup. All right. So, well, we're down to the final bit, and it looks like somebody decided to make this into a bidding war. So, time to get your channel points in. We are going hard. Somebody's trying to even it up, and somebody's trying to break that even. Oh, it's becoming a mess.
Adder and Ruby have gone hunting together enough.
Oh,
he knows
Hero
her
Zone.
tastes.
Hero Zone hit.
Adder sniped it last second. Jesus.
Oh.
Oh,
there we go,
somebody
Adder.
sniped it for me?
Yep,
They
looks
like-
like he got it. Looks like he
they
got
like
it. Heroes on him doing the channel sniping points. Congratulations,
I'm
Adder.
little gremlin shit.
Yeah, you are. You're a little gremlin shit. But hey, you know what? We can't all be me. So
We take these. We take these. I have 12 experience. What do I spend it on, big guys?
Oh. Stuff and things.
Stuff and things. Stuff and things.
I have.
I could
just
take my second dot in Brodian.
You could. You very much could.
I very much could.
Do it, Snake Man.
Oh.
That's a thinky thought I'll have to have.
All right. So I am going to. We're going to end up calling it there, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to end up raiding into Cobalt Sprig, who's playing a game that is near and dear to my heart. StarCraft
Hello
2.
Kitty.
Ooh, she's playing more StarCraft. Nice.
I was going to say Hello Kitty Island Adventure, but
Well, you know, everybody's got their dark preferences.
Oh, yes. Indeed.
All right. So, with that being said, here from Winnipeg by night, say goodnight, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
I just love that Adder said I was smart for once.
The old man's child.